Welcome or welcome back to my channel called Dutch Says It All. We do Dutch diecast restoration today, and you guessed it all right, my name is Dutch. I have been out of the loop for a while, except for my little wine table adventure, but I'm finally back with my story about the Corgi Porsche Carrera number 6. For those who follow my videos regularly, it's known that I do not make any standard restorations, but there is always a story to any of my projects. I must have been about 7 years old or maybe younger when I saw this beautiful Corgi Toys Porsche Carrera coming up, and I wanted one. I only had seen the box, and being a Jim Clark and Lotus fanatic, I wanted to have a car that was in green. So when I finally got the car, and it was quite a disappointment when it looked like a clown car. Spoiled as I was, I just thought it was a big bummer and I didn't like the car whatsoever. So I probably abused it, and before I knew it, it ended up in the scrapyard. And that's where it stayed for the rest of its life. Since that time, this car has been sitting in the dark in a box, totally forgotten, and it looked absolutely horrible, but there was no interest and no love. And I never thought about it any further. All till about end of 2018, when I learned about this fantastic Porsche for sale on the internet. It was a car for sale in Germany, and it had exactly the colors that I ever wanted to have. The seller of this car must have been as surprised as myself about the fact that Corgi never actually made that green car. So this was a fantastic opportunity for me to start a new project, and that is what is going to happen now. I knew I needed different cars in order to make this project work, and I had also some other ideas. So I bought on the flea market this other number 1, and it got tires, and it had a blue canopy, which I forgot to take pictures of. I also needed one with a yellow canopy, which the original green car needed. So I bought one in the United States and I had it shipped to me via eBay, and it all worked out after quite some difficulties. Now this car looks absolutely gorgeous, and I was willing to go a little bit further than normal to make this work. So finally I ended up with 3 cars that provided me with all the basic things: lights, headlights, canopies, different colors, tires, and everything I needed. So let's see what we can make out of it, and this is gonna be about the green car. Now we'll make another film about the other project that I have in mind. With my recently acquired center point, my automatic clicking center point, I made a start to drill out the mushrooms, or whatever you call them, posts. And I must say, this is basically standard stuff that you see on hundreds, maybe thousands of diecast restorer jobs. So let's just walk through this. It's a pretty easy job. You have to be a little bit careful. You start out with drilling some main holes, and then you get the post cleaned off. So just have a look at it, and I'll be back when we start something new. It's nothing special. After drilling the posts, it was a little easy to get the chassis from the top of the car, and now I could see what was really inside. And again, we're not talking about abused cars here, so everything is as expected. I saw the little rubber driver, and there were a couple other posts that I probably needed to take care of. There was a black interior that was not really fixed hard, so that was fairly easy to take apart, and the wheels came out as the seat part was basically the suspension, so that was all quite easy. I needed to figure out how to get the little window part out, which is either in or out, and it went pretty simple actually. Just press it out and everything was in great condition. The next parts that I needed to drill out were the engine exhaust pipes or something. I'm not that much on specialist, but it had to do with the chrome parts that were on top of the engine. So they came out fairly easy, as long as you drilled out deep enough. So when they were loose, I was able to inspect the whole chassis. And the other things that I took apart were the mirrors. Now with the other car, I basically only needed the yellow canopy over the engine, so that came out with a couple of clicks, so that was quite simple. And although I had to take that car apart too, I will spare you the details, as that is going to be part of my next project. So here we are. This is the material I need to work with. 3 cars totally taken apart. We all know what is next. We need to get some of the parts separated, which need to be stripped, and that is going to be the next job. And the other parts look in great condition, so let's go to the thing that I love most, which is stripping the paint off the cars. As this almost became industrial stripping, I put everything in an enamel tray. I got a lot of my traditional stripper around. I pasted it on, and basically you paste it on kind of thick, and then after a while you can all scrub it off. My stripper is the same stripper I used before, and it works absolutely fine with me. It's a layer by layer stripper, but all these cars had a single layer of paint, so it went fairly quick, and I'll leave you with it till it's all done. I ended up doing this twice because there were quite some remainders left on the inside and the underside, so basically it was an exercise of twice with the stripper, and after that it was clean. I wiped it off and then I could start brushing it. I used my almost 25 or maybe older first generation pre-Dremel hand tool, which still works and it still is very effective, to brush off all the remains of paint if there were and smoothen out the surface of this project. After cleaning off all the remains, the cars look beautiful, and I felt like I had my little race team ready to start the first project, which was or is the green car. I did a little bit of brushing on the underside, and I decided not to paint the underside of the car, as it looked in the pictures of the original very rudimentary. So I thought, I'll leave it like it is, and I'm not going to paint it. So here we are, and this is exactly what I have to start the project Green Corvette. And there are the remains, the things I will not be using for this particular project, but you will probably see it back in another video. I have 3 drivers left, and I have not planned to put a driver in my coming project. So now we can finally start doing the special things. I wanted to make the car look exactly like the green car, and the Corgi toy model actually is not as good as it looks. So here are the changes that I need to make. Have a look at it, what I needed to do. It makes it look really different. This is all about the wheel cutouts on the body part, which is so much more smooth on the real one than on the Corgi one. It looks hokey. So what I do is I use a black marker to outline what I really like to cut out, and I still use my very old little thing with a stone and just file away till it's left. Now, as you can see from the original picture, the bottom box looks totally separate and has vertical ends, contrary to the Corgi model. So we need to work a little bit on that to make it look more like an original underside. The Corgi model was quite slanted, so to make that straight I'm going to use the same tool and the same technique by putting some black marker on it, so I know exactly what I have cut away, and that gives you a far better view and better feel for how to proceed. And again, using the same little old tool with the little grindstone, and that worked out perfectly. So after this, now comes what I think is the most challenging part of this model, and that is getting the little spoiler bent on the engine hood. I have to see how I'm going to do that, but I have a feeling that there are various ways to go about it. I've learned that with a mixture of super glue and bicarbonate of soda, you can kind of build up something that sticks good to the metal. So I decided to start using that. The first results were very good. I immediately got a kind of a ridge from which I could actually build up. Well, the first layers turned out pretty good, and it stuck good, so it was hopeful for the rest of the project. After you got a start, it's pretty easy to add layers to it, especially because it dries very quick with using the soda. So I thought I'm going to use the fact that if you just add it a little bit in front of it and tip it off, you will get that natural slant. So now I got the right height. I see some details that I need to take care of, and I want to have a little smooth flow from the spoiler into the backside and take away these little casting errors, which I also saw on the bottom side of the top part of the model. So I could do this with the real Dremel with the sanding wheel. That went really fast and had a perfect result. Very easy little job. So when that was done, I had the spoiler part dry for about 40 minutes and used the 1000 grade sandpaper, wet sandpaper, to shape it up. That's a little bit of handwork and feel. So you literally feel whether you get that nice flowing shape, which worked out absolutely fabulous. Although the spoiler itself was a little bit rough, so I knew later I needed to use some putty to deal with that. But the shape was there and it was absolutely super strong. So that was a very good solution. Credits to Marty's Matchbox Makeovers, who literally taught me this via his YouTube channel. Thanks, guy. So as I said, I put down some very fine plastic putty on there. It dries fast and it is super fine, and will get rid of all the little pores that we had in the original soda casting, as I call it. What followed is a little series of polishing, casting, plaster, polishing again, till I had a super smooth end result. A little bit more sanding, and the end result, in my opinion, was absolutely fantastic, and any other imperfections would just be taken away after priming and maybe some more sanding. As you can see here, it totally changes the shape of the car and brings it back to what it should be. For the primer, I used the Tamiya white. It worked for me in the past. I still had some remainder in the can, so I thought I can use that. Looks pretty good, covers well. After the tack layer, I put the rest of the paint on. This would also allow me to see how good my spoiler would work out and if it needed any touch-ups. So we let it dry under my hot working lamp, and after drying I found out that indeed it needed a little bit of sanding on the spoiler part, but it was just minor, so I could now go ahead and put the green paint on that I just happened to have in my workshop, and was the green exactly as I wanted to have. Again, from a can, not from the airbrush. Why should I if I have a beautiful can? It works out fine. It's thin paint, and as you see, it covered great and it had an immediate shine. It didn't need any lacquer afterwards. I also did the canopy, taped it off with Tamiya tape, and sprayed it green wherever I needed it. As you can see, I still use my very old carton box, at least 10-15 years old, but lately I have added a suction thing. I used a fan that I recovered from a laptop cooler, and with the USB to 220 volt connector, that works out great. I deliberately put it on top so it will suck any particles that may drop down up instead of to the back, which I have had in the past and didn't work for me because it literally sucked dirt from what was in my room. So this with a filter works absolutely fine, and I have never seen any particles on top of any of the products I've spray painted in this old box. Little simple solution, cost me about $4. So now it was time to work a little bit on the interior. From the original pictures I saw that the interior was white, so without getting another can out, I just used the Tamiya primer white and then fill in the details with other colors. Especially I wanted to have the leather seats working exactly as they looked in the pictures of the original car. The bucket seats in the original car are beautiful, Bordeaux, brown, red leather, and I tried to emulate that by mixing up some colors from little paint bottles that I still had from when I was a kid, and painting little models, airplanes and cars, and God knows what else I have made. So a little bit of mixing of these paints that are still good, and now quickly paint those leather seats. Well, they turned out looking lovely. This little silk shine after it dried up looked like real leather. Very happy with that. So now I had a little job to do on the dashboard, which was black. So I wanted to make that black and put some detailing on the front side with the buttons. So first I had to start out hand painting that with a little silk shine or egg shine black. Now look at that, we're almost there. Most of the parts are now painted, and now it's a little bit more detailing, like painting the steering wheel, which I did. I have to glue that in. I have to do a couple other things on the dashboard, but that's too small to show on a video. Oh, you mean putting a little steering wheel in is an easy job? Well, like everything on this little project, nothing really was easy. It was all more time. And if you believe I had about 3.5 to 4 hours of video that I had to shorten to these 30 minutes, it was about things like this. Things did not always go the way I wanted it to go. I've said it in other little films that I made. Big hands and very small items is not a very good combination, but persistence and patience, and finally it will work. So in my search to make this car look actually a lot better than the original Corgi, I also knew that I needed to lower the body on the wheels. And how you do that, I had to figure it out, but it was actually fairly simple. Just fill up the spaces between the axles and the underside of the car with small blocks, which brings the wheels closer to the body. And of course, again, this was a very simple solution that took a lot longer than I originally planned, but the end result was just remarkable. To fill up the spaces, as you can see or may not see, I'm using cut off pieces of matchsticks. They worked out fine, had the right size, and in the end, after a lot of playing around, it worked out good. Luckily, the pictures that I had of the original car showed a lot of interior of the engine, which helped me to detail the engine part and made it look so much more attractive than it looked originally. I used chrome pan and black markers and some gold pan and paint, and tried to copy exactly what it showed in the original engine compartment. I must say, looked really nice. I did a little bit more off-camera detailing, but the end result was really nice. So after 53 years I could finally deal with the frustration that I had about a Porsche that I really liked but needed in green. And here it is. The car that I never had, the car that Corgi always wanted to have, otherwise they would not have made a box, but they never had. This is the box, and this is my car, and I must say, I'm very happy with it. About 5 months ago, I picked up this new hobby by using techniques I learned via YouTubers that are absolutely fantastic. I love to do this. It's not my profession, but it gives me extreme joy, and I thank you guys. You're doing a fabulous job. I will never become the master maker or the maniac maker. I will do so now and then, something that has a special feeling for me. But I think this was a good one. And those who have seen my previous films know that this is only my 4th model. So if I need to improve anywhere or need to learn new tricks, please do not hesitate to let me know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this half an hour of trying to make something beautiful. I wish you guys good luck and hope to see you back. Thanks for watching.